Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and even good New Year. Happy New Year to everyone.
Yay!
Yes, it's us. We are back for another year. This is JoypadAndMe, episode 81. Hello, my name is Graham, otherwise known as Jedi Junkie. And as always, bringing in the new episode, the new year, is Connor, aka John.
Alright.
And Gaz, aka Daft Junk.
Good evening.
How is everybody?
Good.
All survived Christmas and New Year with family, friends, and alcohol?
Yeah, I think I've got psoriasis, but I'm alright now. I'm off the booze for a while.
Oh, yeah. Heavy one, was it?
Pretty heavy, yeah.
Oh, yes, I must admit, I had a heavy one Boxing Day night with the family, and then having to be in work the next day was rough, to say the least. Getting rid of the hangover and trying to look semi-normal was rough.
I went for pre-Christmas drinks, and that basically put me off drinking for all of Christmas. I was really rough. So, yeah, I kind of abstained a little bit during Christmas. I did have the odd beer, but I certainly didn't go to excess.
We went pretty. But I thought, since I was in work New Year's Eve, I thought I would go double hard for Boxing Day. And really give it some. Yes, but that's just the way things go. And for those that have been wondering where our podcast has been for the past few weeks, as a few of you via social media would know, we had a few technical issues. Mainly my master laptop dying, a major death, and needing to be repaired and fixed and brought back to life. And with that, all our art assets, all our audio assets and that disappeared with it for a while, which meant we were kind of dead in the water for a bit, weren't we?
Yeah.
I'm hoping you've backed up.
Yes. Now I have. Yeah, so we had a few issues with that, of which we will be looking at rectifying and having backup plans just in case in the future. But we are back with a vengeance now, and with articles on the site already, and this podcast. Well, if you're listening to it now, it's already released. Yeah. So, a new year, 2016.
Well, hey.
New games, new games coming out, new information, new news, new stories, new everything.
Yeah. Yeah, fair bit. There's been lots of kind of little bits, a bit of speculation. There's obviously Consumer Electronics Show going on at the moment in Vegas. So yeah, there's lots of little bits trickling out.
Yeah. What we will do in episode 82, which will come out soon after this, we will have a little look back at 2015 and the games that came out, the news stories, basically do a 12-month catch-up before we jump heavily into what's coming out next. But for now, staying with tradition, what we will do is go into our first segment, which as always is what we've been playing. Right, what we've been playing. Well, for me, I've been playing little bits of lots of games, but not much of anything. It's been a strange one. Just Cause 3 has taken a lot of my time, I suppose. I honestly have no idea how far through the story I am. I'm pretty sure I've hardly done any missions, maybe one or two, but I've gone around lots of the islands and blown up lots of shit and taken over lots of areas. But that's all I seem to be doing is going around blowing crap up. Which, Connor, Gaz, when we were at EGX, that's what they told us to do.
Yeah.
Blow shit up.
It's pretty much all I've done. I haven't played too much of the game, but I did a couple of story missions, and then, just spent the whole time flinging myself around on my grappling hook.
Yep.
Or waiting for it to load.
I've even found a Formula 1 car just sitting at the side of a road.
Really?
Back of a trailer. Yeah. I'm driving along one day and there's this blue and yellow Formula 1 car on the back of a trailer on a truck that's crashed onto the side of the road, just sitting there. Oh, I'm having some of that. Man, that thing shifted. But when it catches on fire and blows up, it really goes fast, and you have to jump out like lightning. Wow! You go anywhere near enemy patrols, and they catch onto you really quick. That thing just caught. That's asking for trouble. But I loved it. Like, I'm in a Formula 1 car, running around in a Just Cause environment, blowing anything I can find up. It's wicked. Loved it. It was absolutely nuts.
I just like riding around on my Vespa with a rocket launcher.
Basically, that's probably the one game where we don't actually need much of a story. Who cares? Just give me weapons, give me a big area to blow up. I love it. I'm trying to do all the not the challenges, but try to beat people's scores and things like how far you've done skydives, how high you've climbed mountains on your parachute, and just all that kind of shit. I love it. It is an amazing game, and one I think everyone needs to jump on and play. I'm actually considering getting the season pass for it as well, which is scary.
Is it expensive, that one, or not?
No, it's about £20, I think, for the season pass for that. So it's
not bad, because I think they've promised 3 expansions, haven't they? So
it might be 30, but I'm thinking it's 20 to be fair. I'm a little bit annoyed in some ways that the it's already gone down in price quite a bit. It's now down to £35, where I suppose not too much of a drop, but
I paid 31 quid for it, I think.
Oh,
I don't know why, that's what Zavi were doing it for the pre-order for, but...
Really?
Yeah, 31 quid, that's all it was.
I think I paid 42, maybe 40, yeah, about 42, I think. The season pass is 20 quid. Just double checking. But yeah, love it. I'm surprised it hasn't been lauded more on the internet how good it is. That said, the one I haven't played anything of since we last spoke about it is Star Wars Battlefront. Kind of surprised at myself for not playing more of that. I can't understand why I haven't. I'm looking for it, waiting for it for months and months, and haven't played anywhere near the amount of time I should have done on it. I think you're the same, aren't you, guys?
Yeah, but I think my problem is every time I want to play it, I look at my friends list and there doesn't seem to be anyone else playing it, and I kind of don't want to play it with random people. I mean, when like me, you, and Dan were playing it, it was a good laugh when you had a little squad together and you were all talking on the mics and that.
Yeah, it is a good laugh. I mean, as sad as it is, I've got my PlayStation on now, and out of 25 people online, only one person is playing it. That's disturbing. That's quite strange.
That's a big drop-off.
Yeah.
Considering at launch, pretty much everyone on my playlist, on my friends list, was playing it.
Oh, God, yeah.
A big drop-off.
So, I think we need to organise a few days where we get a few people online and have a bit of a giggle.
Yeah, I think we might come back to that in a few minutes, because I know me and Gareth have played a game that we won't mind getting a couple more people involved with.
Yeah.
Other games of semi-note I've been jumping on. Being the Christmas season and you jump on with friends and family, Jackpot's Party Pack has had a bit of an outing. That's nice. Always a giggle. And the Party Pack 2 is on sale at the moment, so jump online and grab that.
What is that? I don't even know what that game is, but I've noticed they've got a physical release with both of them coming out soon for like 20 quid.
It's a bunch of stupid-ass funny games that are even funny when you've had a drink or 10.
So is it a bit like Bashy Bashy Mix? Or was it Bashy Bashy Mix? Weird kind of mini-games that are kind of quick blast, kind of like WarioWare type?
Sort of, but not quite. Basically, it's like a hub game where you need to have a tablet or a mobile phone with you. And it gives you a code that you jump onto the website, you put the code in, and then it links your phone to the game. And you have 2, 3 or 4 players who get different games in it. So
you don't need buzzers like you would have done.
No. You just use modern tech, games. So that does make life a lot easier, but you need to make sure you get stuff is charged up. But you've got one where you've got, say, 4 players, and you've got to lie about. Your answer's got to be a lie, and one of the people playing has to guess who made up that lie. So, say it could, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a question. I don't know. The last president of America left because then 3 people will give an answer, say he allegedly shagged the sheep or he died of old age or something like that. And then the person's got to guess. And the person, if you get the right answer, you get a certain amount of points. If the person guesses your fake answer, you might get double the points. You've made it a convincing lie or something they've pulled out. You've got that one, or you've got a Pictionary where it gives you've got to draw something they tell you and see if they'll believe you, or there's loads of different games on it. I haven't picked up the Party Pack 2 one yet. I want to because it's really funny, and I'd say with a few drinks, it's really good. We played it during Extra Life on Jay's Xbox, and that's what got me addicted to wanting to play it. So that's why I bought it, and yeah, I just want to get more people around to play it because it is damn good fun. I don't know if you could play it online. I'll have to check that. Because you link via the website, could you play it via SharePlay?
Possibly.
Because you'd still be seeing the screen. I don't know. I'll have to have a look at that. I would recommend that. It's a great great adult party game, shall I say. I wouldn't be... yeah. It can get quite disturbing when you get a few people around. Other group games, Trivial Pursuit Live, was playing that. That's actually really impressed with that. Considering we've played and we've talked about other quiz games on the PS4 over the past few months, and they've been severely lacking, this actually is a decent game. Feels a little bit like Buzz in like different rounds and the way that the different rounds have different styles to them, like quickest answer or get the best of the answers that are left, different ones. The questions aren't overly American. That there is some, but it's quite wide ranging. The categories are vast. I've not come against the same question twice while playing it. It feels and looks like it's made well. Whereas that other one, what was the other one I played that was just bad? You could finish the whole game in 10 minutes. I'm trying to think what that was.
Was that the trivia game?
Yeah.
Yeah, I played that. One of my bugbears with those games is when you've been playing it for an hour and you start getting the same questions again. That's what really annoys me.
Oh, in that trivia one, it didn't even take an hour. I think it was 20 minutes before I came against the same few questions again. Whereas Trivial Pursuit, no, I haven't come up against one yet. I've played a good bit of it. Again, another game I'd really recommend. I also picked up, let's see, what else did I pick up and haven't played? Monopoly Plus. I didn't expect that to be using mobile phones and tablets as your controller, but it kind of makes sense to do it because then no one else can see what you're holding and your money, so I need to actually sit down and play that properly. Worms Battleground, spent 5 minutes playing that.
It's Worms.
It is exactly what it says on the tin.
Yeah. That's another one I got, I think, in a sale, and I literally played it for an hour because I thought, oh, I like Worms, and then, yeah.
Yeah. I did also pick up Blood Bowl, but I haven't had enough time to make much of a thought on that, really. From what I've done so far, it's extremely technical, and I don't know if that's going to take the enjoyment out of the game as much.
It's got a big, steep learning curve.
Yes, it definitely feels like it's got that. So when I get a day to sit down and learn it, I will get on that and then report back on the podcast. But yeah, I'd be fair, I picked that up for 10 quid, so it should be worth that. The other two that I've been playing the most of was Drive Club Bikes. I actually decided to pick that up in the end.
Well, that was one of those games that wasn't announced and delayed for ages. It was one that was announced and was there.
I know, I was impressed. And I gave it a couple of weeks before I bothered picking it up because I was trying to justify paying the extra money for what could have just been a little DLC add-on. But it looks fairly substantial for what it is. There's enough there for the price.
It's standalone, isn't it? You can get it without a Drive Club, and it's got a platinum as well, isn't it? I think.
Oh, nice.
It is That's probably unsurprisingly, it is harder than the cars.
Yeah, I bet.
You can't go into it after driving the cars for that long and then just think you can handle the bikes the same way. Braking and cornering just does not work like that. You can't just slide a bike around like certain other games that might make you believe. You try that, you come straight off the bike. It feels like there's more thought process in making your line right, planning your overtakes, your braking zones are insane, which you kind of want in a racing sim. But again, it's that mix where Drive Club still doesn't quite know what it is. Is it an arcade game? Is it a sim game? It doesn't know, and that's a bit of a turn off. But they've done a lot to the game since my initial explosion over it. It is the best racing game on the PS4. Drive Club Bikes is probably the best bike game on the PS4. I want to see more and more variety of the bikes. That should come with expansion packs here and there. There are some of those bikes on there that are just woefully underpowered when you go into a race with multiple models. Some that are just an absolute bastard to handle. It might be my driving style that needs getting used to, maybe, but yeah. It's given Drive Club more variety and more lease of life. So, as DLC, as expansion, as a standalone, you can't ask for more from that. I think the price point at £12 was spot on. I don't think it would be worth 20. It's on sale at the moment for £8. Perfect. For £8, I wouldn't think twice. That's fair enough. But I have to admit, the game has taken up more time than any over the past month and a half has been a free-to-play game.
Whoa.
Disturbing revelation for me. Gems of War, which is exactly as what it said. It's a match 3 Bejeweled-esque card game type thing.
But how this is my issue with kind of those types of games. I love them on Vita because you've got a touch screen and it's very easy to play and you can play them for hours. But are you playing it on PS4?
Yeah.
How easy is it to play with a controller?
Dead simple. I've never even had an issue with the controls at all. It's
because I know I tried like Treasures of Montezuma Arena or whatever it was on the PS3, I think it was, and I'd played a lot of it on the Vita, and I just couldn't get my head around it on the PS3. I'm just I like being able to touch things and move them that way rather than moving a case around.
Well, the beauty with this is I've heard it compared to Hearthstone. I've not played Hearthstone, so I can't call to that. What this is basically you've got a deck of 4 cards, 4 players, so to speak. Each have different attributes like attack, skill, defense, life, health, and all that. And they each have like a mana color or split mana color, so earth, air, water, different colors, different mana. When you build up to a certain amount, they've got a special power, which can be either healing someone, dealing damage, poisoning, making different colour gems on the screen.
That sounds very much like Fat Princess Piece of Cake.
Yeah, could well be. I don't think I've played that, so you played an awful lot of that, so you'd know.
Yeah.
You've got an overall map where you take over and you do story missions, which is basically you just got to take on different opponents and beat their cards. As you go through them, they get a little bit harder. There's boss battle type things. But it's strategy because there's no time limit to it. You can sit there for an hour if you want to really think about what your next gem move is going to be. You don't need that. You can do it in seconds, to be fair. Every now and again, skulls will drop. You get 3 in a line, you cause damage. You get 4 in a line, you cause more damage. You get 5, you cause even more. It's a dead simple game, and it is free to play. Yes, you can buy extra card packs. You can buy bits and pieces. I haven't put a single penny into this. It's got trophies. I'm 2 trophies away from 100% in it, and all I've got to do now is just do the grind to get to level 100. You don't need to put money into this. There's a JoypadAndMe guild. You can join that so we can get bonus cash and souls for it.
Don't go encouraging me to play free to play match 3 games.
Yes,
I don't
I'm
need
encouraging
much
you.
encouragement.
I'm highly encouraging you.
You do. Poor people have had to listen to me bang on about Fat Princess Piece of Cake and my secret obsession with Treasures of Montezuma. Oh, they don't need to hear me playing
I
this.
think you would like this. This is the perfect game for someone who has an unknown amount of gaming time. Because you can play it for 5 minutes, and then when something happens, you can put the controller away. You don't have to pause it. There's no online waiting for a timeout or anything like that. You can just leave it. Or you can sit there for an hour, 2, 3, and play it non-stop. So if you've got kids running around who suddenly want attention, this is the game to play, because you can just stop when you need to, or you can pick it up when you want to.
You're saying all the right things, and
there are very
not
few
liking
games this generation where you can actually have that happen. All the games nowadays are online. You've got to be linked to a server. You've got to be in a 20-man party. You've got to be a game where you can just pick up and play or put down whenever you need to is perfect. And it's taken up a lot of my time, because I will sit here and listen to a podcast while playing 10, 20 levels of it. And I'll just play a couple more so I can level up one of my cards and my characters. And it's as sad as it is, it's a really, really good game. And I've put more time into this than I have probably Just Cause 3 and Battlefront put together. Considering the amount of money I paid for Just Cause 3 and Battlefront put together, a free-to-play game beating them is quite disturbing. I'm not saying it's a better game than those. I'm just saying for limited time players and for what it is, it's a great game. And I highly recommend you pick it up and play. You know you want to, Connor. It's a free-to-play game. It's a free-to-play game where you don't have to put any money into it. And you can still complete it. You can still be good at it.
Oh.
And the worst bit is you can play other players online. And if people want to come and have a go at me, the clan is JoypadAndMe. I am Jedi Junkie on there. And I haven't been beaten yet. So, by all means, come and try. Now I'm going to get absolutely spanked on it, aren't I?
Yeah, I think you're asking for trouble.
I'm all for it, because I don't know, it's enjoyable. I think it's a good giggle. But it's one I wasn't going to pick it up, because free to play games are largely they are just pay to wins or pay to advance, and they're not much. I picked it up, played a couple of levels, and was pretty hooked. I must admit, I was quite surprised. The artwork's quite nice. The voice acting is crap, but to be fair, you'd expect that. So, as I said, for me, turn the volume down, stick a podcast on, play this to your heart's content. You don't need to know the storyline. You don't need to know what they're saying, because it's a match 3 card battle game. It's not rocket science. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I've been playing. Yeah, Connor, over to you.
Oh, well, I started my month off by one of the guys at work said, "Hey, I've got Fallout 4 now, and I finished Far Cry 4. Do you want to play it?" I'm like, yes, of course I want to play it. I missed out on it. It was one of the games I really wanted last year. I was on a year of shame, didn't get it. He'd got it for Christmas and had been kind of slowly playing through it. And he'd got to the end of it and said, "Look, do you want to play it?" I'm like, yes. So I borrowed it and basically hammered it as hard as I could. It's like a prettier version of Far Cry 3. So it looks very, very, very nice. It does feel hampered by the fact that it was cross-gen. So it was released on 360, PS3 at the same time as Xbox One and PS4. And you can kind of tell to a certain extent. Most people I talked to on social media seem to think that it was fairly bug-free. That wasn't my experience.
Didn't it have massive bugs to start off with?
I don't know if it's previously had massive bugs, but it certainly had quite a few in it. I tweeted a lot of weird and wonderful ones, like trucks falling through bridges and soldiers stood levitating on water, and
I don't know
at one point I couldn't get off a quad bike. I was literally super glued to the quad bike. Trying to climb with the grapple hook and the rope getting stuck through trees or through rocks and not being able to climb. They were all kind of superficial bugs. I didn't have anything that was majorly game breaking.
No, I'm trying to think, because I'm sure that was the game, and I can't remember if it was on Xbox or PC, but there was a bug in it where it wouldn't actually load.
That was
Oh,
it was
yeah.
that was the PS3 version though, just
Yeah,
the
it was,
PS3
yeah.
version.
So that's quite a major bug.
Yeah, that didn't appear to be there. The online was absolute bobbins. Trying to, because the last couple of trophies I needed were co-op trophies. So trying to actually do them was near on impossible. Thankfully, Evil Noob basically said, "I'll jump in with you in co-op, and we'll try and get you your trophies." So trying to join his game, no, it was having none of it. Him trying to join my game, no, it was having none of it. So I just decided to randomly try and join a game, and thought I was actually in a game with him, only to then go to the pause menu and realise, no, I wasn't. I was in with a random. Trying to communicate with a random to tell them what you want them to do, and all I had to do was capture a checkpoint as heck and do a takedown as a passenger in a vehicle. Whilst I managed to get one of them by basically getting a guy to follow me and capture a base he hadn't taken, a checkpoint he hadn't taken. Ding, trophy. But then he started dicking about, so I thought, I'll quit that. So I got out and got into another game with someone else who hadn't got very far into the game, and was a bit like, right, okay, stuff this. I'm going to see whether he's English. Yeah, he's American, right? I'm going to send him a friend request. I'm going to send him a message via the chat on my phone, because it was quite quick to type. Added him as a friend, got him into the party chat and said, look, I need one more trophy. I need you to drive a vehicle. I need to be the passenger. We need to drive by a vehicle. I jump out, stab the person, ding, that's my platinum done. So he was like, oh yeah, we can do that. So managed to do it within a couple of minutes.
Cool.
And then he said, oh, would you help me get a couple of the, take down a couple of the fortresses? So I'm like, yeah, okay. So did that and got him a few, but that was me kind of done. The story is, for me, not as good as Far Cry 3. I reviewed Far Cry 3 and I loved it. And to all intents and purposes, it is basically the same game. The premise is slightly different, but whereas Far Cry 3 felt it resolved its story by the time it gets to the end, Far Cry 4 kind of doesn't. And it builds and builds and builds, and then you kind of go, oh, right, okay, so why was I doing all of this? Without being majorly spoilerific, I felt really kind of left unresolved with it, and just a bit like, and there's so much busy work in it. It's a Ubisoft game, so there's 1,000,001 collectibles. And I started to collect most of them to start off with, and then I went, you know what? Screw them. I don't think it's going to do anything if I collect them all, so I'm not going to bloody bother. So I stopped, and as soon as I'd finished the story, I just focused on the trophies, and I spent an afternoon just going bing, 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 and I think I got 13 trophies in an afternoon. And then all I had was the co-op ones to ding off. So I was like, yes. So it's a very achievable platinum. It's quite an enjoyable experience, but what I'd recommend is, if you've got a friend who hasn't played it or has only played a little bit of it, and you can get the co-op to work, play it with a friend, because it's fantastic. In 2-player, I didn't know until I was playing randomly in co-op, that you can actually use your grapple hook and attach it to the bottom of a buzzer, which is like these weird little one-man helicopter things. And you can hang off the bottom of the buzzer, which is just like, that's bizarre. And you can climb up your rope and sit on the side of the buzzer with the person who's flying it. I was like, that's bizarre.
If you want grapple hook fun, just cause 3, mate.
Well, yeah, it definitely feels like it's a taster into how much fun you can have with a grapple hook. But the game's got some nice ideas. The Shangri-La stuff is very clever. It's a bit trippy, but it's really clever. It's a really different spin on the story and adds a lot more background to it. And I really liked that. But seeing all the Far Cry Primal stuff, I kind of thought, okay, this looks like they've taken that mode and then gone, yeah, what if we used that mode in caveman times? And I'm not sure you could get a full game out of it, so I'll reserve judgment until Primal comes out. I'm not in a rush to buy it. But I think if Far Cry 4 goes free on the store, because I only borrowed the game, I would probably buy the Yeti DLC and have a play, because I did enjoy the world. I did enjoy exploring. I did enjoy all the spontaneous events that happen, like animals suddenly running off and attacking other people, and you running in and defending them. There's so much busy work in it. There's so much stuff that you can kind of get distracted with. There's your typical Ubisoft, climb this tower to open up an area. There's lots and lots and lots of mini missions you can do, some of which are really interesting, a lot of which are just busy work. But I'd recommend it. I don't think it's as fresh as Far Cry 3 was. That's kind of my biggest negative of it. Other than that, I noticed that Super Frog HD was free for the PlayStation Vita. I'm not sure it was meant to be free for the PlayStation Vita, but it was. So I quickly downloaded that and discovered it gave me the PS3 version for free as well, even though that was showing as priced, because originally it was a cross-buy game. And the PS3 version has a very clever mode. You can basically use your Vita as the controller to control it via the PS3 on the TV. I thought, ooh, that's a nice idea. I quite like the feel of the PS Vita. My God, the lag's awful. The input lag was so dreadful. At times, it was up to like 3 seconds. And I went, that's ridiculous. Wow. Why is this lag so bad? Because if you've never played Super Frog, it's a mixture of Sonic and Mario. It's got the speed of Sonic and it's got the hoppiness of Mario. It was an old Amiga game that they've upscaled slightly and brought to the PlayStation, and I think it's available on Steam and various other things. It's a nice bit of nostalgia. There's like a level creator in there, and there's some new levels that were ever in the original game. I dinged off 4 trophies in, I think, my first 10 minutes of playing it, and I'd taken my Vita when I went away for Christmas. And my nephews basically sat playing it and really, really liked it. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of remember what it feels like to play a game as a kid, because I'd have been in my early teens when Super Frog came out the first time on the Amiga. So I was like, yeah, I kind of remember that feeling. But because it's not big, shooty, flashy, bang, bang, it's age appropriate. And like my youngest nephew was playing it and absolutely loving it. And he got to a point where it got a bit hard for him. He's like, yeah, I think I've had enough now. You can have it back. So I'm like, well, that's good. But yeah, that was just a random bonus. It's one I wanted to play. I wanted to try that cross-controller compatibility. I'm so disappointed it didn't work. I probably will go back and play a bit more, because I can see it being relatively easy to 100%. There's no platinum for it, so that's probably why I've not gone back and done it in. Additionally, we got Gauntlet Slayer Edition last month, free with PlayStation Plus, and in the style of an old game I played when I was a wee boy. Gauntlet was one of those arcade games that used to have 4 sticks and used to have lots of smoke-smelling older boys playing in arcades near me, and you'd kind of have a go and be like, oh yeah, you can play as a wizard, top-down, dungeon crawler game. Solid, if I remember rightly. It came out on various platforms. I know I've played it on the Amiga. I think it came out on Mega Drives and
it's on the NES as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it probably will have been. It basically came out on everything. And I think there's been various iterations that have been like HD remakes of it. I'm sure there was a
remember
HD
there was
remake.
an N64 version of it.
Was they?
Yeah.
I'm sure PlayStation, when they released like Midway Classics type things, I'm sure they did like an up version of that, like they did with Mortal Kombat, that had online mode in it. And I think I maybe had a couple of minutes and went, Jesus, I remember this was really hard, and it still is really hard. But I'd put a message out on Twitter and said, does anyone want to try this out? And Gareth said, yeah, that would be great. We'll get on and have a go. So we did, didn't we? We played in 2-player, and it was actually quite a lot of fun.
I enjoyed it.
It's a HD dungeon crawlery game.
It's a poor man's Diablo 3. That's what I call it.
Yeah. Having not played Diablo 3, I can imagine what you mean by that. But it was nice. It was playable, wasn't it? Me running around as an elf, you running around as a a bed with a big sword. Is that right?
I was the Valkyrie. Wasn't I?
Valkyrie, yeah.
To be fair, though, I wasn't really running around. I was just dying quite a lot, wasn't I?
You died a fair bit, but you were also way more powerful than my piffly arrows.
Yeah.
So you could run in and do a couple of swipes and take out the big beasties. And I could generally take out a lot of the smaller ones. It definitely feels like the original Gauntlet was made, is that it wants you to play with 4 people.
Yeah.
So I think we'll go back and hopefully get a few more people to join us. And
I think it's probably easier with 4 people than it is with 2 as well.
But it was quite nice. The trophies are a bit khaki, really, aren't they? There's get them for killing a certain number of enemies, and then there's get them for killing a certain number of enemies with each of the different classes, and then beat all of the game. How many levels did we count? Was it like 20 levels or 25 levels?
Yeah, we did about 5, didn't we, I think?
Yeah. But it's one of those ones that you can kind of, when you can arrange to get in with people, is jump in and kind of have a crack and try and play through it. So I'd be interested to go back and do that a bit more. What else have I played? Oh, one of the games I got for Christmas. Talking of Christmas, played a bit of SingStar. That was the only game I actually played between Christmas Eve and Boxing Day. That was all I played. So I didn't play anything until after that. But I got Until Dawn from Catherine's mother for Christmas, which I was very surprised by. Wow, what a game. What a lovely game. It's a bit schlocky, 80s kind of horror movie, cabin in the woods, and you've got to protect 8 people from dying and survive until dawn. The acting, I think, at times is dreadful, and I can't work out whether that's actors being dreadful or actors acting like dreadful actors.
I thought
Really
it seemed to be quite tongue-in-cheek, like done on purpose. That's what my sort of...
At points, definitely. Later on in the game, it definitely feels like that. Early on, it feels a bit like... I don't know if these are just all new to the idea of mocap acting, because you've got the Hayden Panettiere, you've got the bloke out of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., there was another person in it I recognised.
The guy who's in that Amazon Prime series, I Am Robot, is Josh, I think. He's like the lead in that new series on Amazon, yeah.
So there was a few kind of familiar faces. It also didn't look as good as I expected. I actually think, mocap-wise, Beyond Two Souls looks better. You can tell it was originally meant to be a PS3 game. A lot of the background and ancillary stuff looks nicer, and the atmospherics. There's the snow, because you're up in like this log cabin, or it's not a log cabin, is it? It's basically like a
log mansion.
Lodge. Yeah, right up in the mountains. It's all snowy, and it kind of has shades of point and click adventure to it, and it seems to have learnt tricks from Telltale's games, but it's good. It didn't scare me that much. There's an interesting option where you can turn your camera on if you've got it, and it will capture jump scares.
Yeah, I never knew that.
Did you not know that was there?
Well, it doesn't really tell you, does it?
No, it doesn't. You have to go into the options and enable it. You can also see the percentages of other people that made choices. If you turn that on, which I didn't until towards the end, and then went, oh, I'm glad I didn't have that turned on.
I didn't even know you could do that either.
Yeah, so you can see, so if you go back and play through a second time, your aim is to get everyone to survive until dawn. I had 50% of the people survive, and I had 6 people alive up until about the last chapter, and then killed 2 in really quick succession. And I was like, oh god. One of them was not doing a button press right, because you can play it with motion controls, and the motion controls are a bit gash. I think it would have worked better with move ones. I don't think the DualShock 4 is really very good for motion.
Is that the like don't move?
Well, you've got to do like an aim, and you have to aim your pad to kind of aim over a sight, and then press a button to fire a weapon.
I never had to do that.
Yeah, you also have to do there's also, and you can move the torch around by tilting the pad.
I was just
and
using
there's
the
also-
right stick to do it.
I know you can do it with the, because I had full motion on. And you also have don't move options. And I wanted to take a screen grab of one of the characters as it said don't move. But obviously as soon as I pressed the share button,
Yeah.
it tilted the controller. So yeah, certain character died quite gruesomely and I'm like, oh, bollocks.
That don't move is so sensitive as well. Like,
Yeah.
the only way I got around it was actually just placing the pad on, like, the coffee table in front of me when it did that,
Yeah.
and picking it up as soon as it finished.
You've got to kind of be careful what you place it on though, because the pad vibrates as well. So if you put it on too hard a surface, it bounces and so it vibrates it because of the vibration. You literally have to put it on something that's soft. So I had it rested on my lap rather than holding it. But yeah, the tension's really good. It's especially in the last third of the game, it really builds a good pace to it, and you do want the characters to survive, even though most of them are really douchey. And I don't know whether that's deliberate or what, but I think it's a franchise that we could see more of. I don't want to see more of the same people though.
Nah.
But at the end, it gives you a showreel of kind of what happened and interviews with the survivors, and that was really smart. And you really feel the choices you've made. They kind of whole played on the idea of the butterfly effect of that your choices have impact and affect things further down the line, and you can definitely tell they do. But it is ripping off the butterfly effect film to a great extent. But I think at the moment it's under 20 quid. Well worth buying. It's about 5 hours to complete. I got 3 trophies though, playing through my first time. I'm like, oh, that's a bit harsh. But
There
I
isn't
really
many
wanna go
trophies,
back.
though.
I really want to go back and play it again though to get the platinum. But I want someone else to play it and sit and just watch what decisions they make. And because at one point I was trying to eat a bag of crisps whilst doing a quick time event, and I kept missing the button presses, and my character kept tripping up over things, headbutting off things. I'm like, this is far more entertaining than him actually getting the correct button presses. So I'd definitely be interested to see how someone else responds. But yeah, that's probably one of the best games I've started the year playing. I definitely recommend having a go with that. Certainly play with a few more people as well. If you're a bit scared of games, it might make you jump a bit. It didn't for me. It's made me think I can probably play Alien Isolation now without pooping myself. But that may be me overreaching a little.
I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. It's the best David Cage game, and he wasn't even involved with it.
Yeah. It's definitely well worth playing. And
The
that's
platinum is an arse to go for, though.
Is it?
You have to follow a guide to do it, otherwise you'll just keep trophies will just keep evading you.
Because all of the trophies are hidden, aren't they?
Most of them are collectible ones, and there's even a part in the first chapter where if you do a specific something, which most people probably do, you lock yourself out of a room in like chapter 7 where you miss a shitload of collectibles, and it locks you out of like 4 of the trophies.
Right, okay.
So if you're going to go for the platinum, I'd follow a guide for one playthrough at least, just to make sure you get everything.
Right. So Gareth, what have you been playing now we're talking about platinums?
I've really only played 3 games over Christmas. So I picked up the DLC for Bloodborne, which I finished in the summer and sort of had a bit of a love-hate relationship with it. It wasn't quite Dark Souls for me, and I was a bit confused with like the story. I didn't really understand what the point of it was. So I thought, well, I'll pick the DLC up because everyone was raving on about how good it was, and it makes the whole game a lot clearer. It actually makes the story come across, well, in my opinion, better than like the Dark Souls games. It makes it extra creepy compared to what was sort of going on in the story in the first place. And it's also got probably 3 of the best boss battles in the game are hidden in the DLC.
That's fantastic.
It's very good. So I picked that up. It also gave me the urge to go back and do those horrible chalice dungeons, which I'll talk about in the end to get the platinum. But yeah, as far as the DLC goes, it wraps up the story nicely. You end up meeting a lot of the characters which are spoken about in the actual game that you sort of only know tidbits about from reading like weapon descriptions or like notes that are left around, and actually like finding out what happened to those characters. And basically, yeah, you're sort of transported back in time to where sort of the whole Bloodborne began. But I don't really want to give many spoilers away. But the cool thing is there's like 8 or 9 new weapons, which adds to the not many weapons from the game. And my favourite one has to be the whirligig saw, which is basically a club, but you also have like what looks like 2 pizza cutters on your back. So when you transform it, you basically just end up with a sort of gear-powered, double-edged pizza saw that you can like slicing people up with, which is quite good. Well, there's also one I think called the boom hammer, which is like a sledgehammer that you can set the end on fire and it explodes when it hits people. But yeah, it was really cool. So I did the DLC. I think it took about 5 hours to do. There's 5 extra bosses in it, which adds to, I think there's 13 in the main campaign, in the main game. So it's quite a big chunk. There's 3 new areas. And I think it took me about 5 hours to do it. They're really, really hard, considering that the level entry requirement for you to get in there is quite low. I struggled on a couple of them. I had to get some helpers in via co-op because one of them was just absolutely kicking my arse. I must have attempted it about 15 times before I got the ump. But yeah, and it's also got the most, well, it's not really obscure if you played the Dark Souls games before. Like all the DLC in most of them is like really stupidly accessed. Like you wouldn't know how to do it without looking into it. So you basically have to pick an item up from the main hub world and just go and stand in this sort of random spot underneath this big spider creature that normally attacks you if you stand there. But now when you've got this item, he sort of picks you up and transports you to the DLC. But I have no idea how you'd know that without looking it up. There's no explanation for it at all. Which is really obscure. But yeah, so after I beat the DLC, I went back to the Chalice dungeons, which are the biggest pain in the arse on the planet. And the fact that they hide one of the coolest bosses in the game behind them as like an optional thing is beyond me. And so what they are is you have to pick up chalices that you get in the game, and then you can use ritual materials or items you pick up as well to sort of create a dungeon. And then you can go through that dungeon, and there's like 3 layers in each one, and you have to beat a boss at the end of each layer. And then when you get to the end of that chalice dungeon, you get a different chalice, and it unlocks the next one, and so on and so on and so on. And after about 13 of these, you get to a really cool boss. But the one before that is one where you have half HP. It's called like the Defiled one, and all 3 of the bosses in that can kill you in one hit. So the amount of times I was just running in the room, getting smacked in the first 3 seconds, dying, respawning, got on my nerves quite a bit. And I almost gave up. But I did sit there one night after I spoke to Connor and sat until 3 in the morning thrashing it out.
We played Gauntlet, didn't we, to give you a break from it?
I'd been playing it all day, yeah. I just needed to get out. But yeah, I found a sort of cheesy strategy where I managed to like, It still was hard because if you like lost your concentration for half a second, you'd be dead, and it did kill me a few times when I'd got the boss down to like 10% health, which was a bit annoying. But yeah, no, I did it, and I got the platinum. I'm happy now because that completes my Souls collection. Now I've got platinum in all of them.
Yay! Roll on Dark Souls 3 then, match.
Well, to prepare me for that, I'm playing the PS4 version of Dark Souls 2 now, which is quite. Well, I've never played any of the DLC, and that's included, and it's actually remixed, so they've like changed all the like enemy layouts and all the items in different places and stuff now. So that's quite cool. And the other game I managed to get the platinum in was Fallout 4. After 75 hours, I think I plugged into that. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It is just more Fallout 3. Looks a bit prettier. I'm quite impressed with the fact that I didn't have as many bugs as I normally get in a Bethesda game. I think I only had one hard crash in total, and then there was a few weird bugs where like subtitles would appear 3 lines after someone had spoken. So I ended up turning them off because I was just getting on my nerves. And a couple of other weird things where I've got like stuck on a bit of terrain and I couldn't move, or I've gone into hacker terminal and then it's got stuck. And so the only way for getting it out was suspending the application and then reopening it again, which was quite strange. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. The side missions are really, really good. It's quite a cool sort of story. So there's basically 4 factions, and you can sort of pick which one you want to finish the game with. So you can sort of do all the side quests and all the main story missions for each faction up until a point, and then it will warn you before you start a mission saying, doing this mission will aggro so-and-so, and then you'll know you basically can't finish the faction quest line for one of the other ones. But there is also a little cheesy way, which I did to get all the ending trophies, was I made a save at one point and then just quickly thrashed out the 3 storylines that I wanted to get the trophies for, and saved the one that I wanted to actually complete the game with until the end. So I didn't have to play through the whole game again, which was quite good. But yeah, the main story's not great. There's a pretty ridiculous twist about halfway through, which I thought was a bit meh. And then it sort of ends on a bit of a flat note, and I don't know if that's just because there's a DLC season pass for it, which on the last 2 Fallout games they actually did 5 pieces of DLC, and they were all quite long. So
one of them was absolutely huge.
Yeah, on Fallout 3, I think the first one, I can't remember what it was called though.
Well, you had like a whole separate island.
Oh, it was a separate map. You actually went to a different area where it was a map sort of a quarter of the size of the main map, yeah. Because
there was Brotherhood of Steel, wasn't there? And then there was the Pit, which was quite short.
Yeah, Point Lookout.
Point Lookout was the big one.
Mothership Zeta was the sort of alien one. Yeah. And then there was another one, which was quite cool. I never played the Fallout New Vegas DLC, which is quite. I've got the greatest hits version with all the DLC in, but I've never played that yet. So I might have a go on that, I think, this year. Yeah, so that was the Fallout 4 Platinum done and dusted, which is nice. So yeah, that's 2 of that out of the way. And the third game I've been playing is another one of the UbiArt games, which I loved the Rayman games and Valiant Hearts. I picked up Child of Light for the Vita, and that is probably the best looking one out of the lot of them.
Really?
It is absolutely gorgeous. The soundtrack to it's also brilliant, and it's quite kiddie, the game, but in sort of like a charming way. It's a bit strange. It's a sort of turn-based strategy RPG with sort of like puzzly platform elements at the same time as well. So as you're controlling the main character, you're like traveling around the world. There's a world map and there's different zones you go to, and then each zone has sort of puzzles in. So you can fly, and you also have a small sort of, it's like a fairy with you that you can use the power of light. So the fairy can slow enemies down, so you can walk past them, so you don't have to get into a battle, or it can open doors. Like anywhere where you see a bit of light, or somewhere with like a silhouette, you can sort of use that character you control it with the right stick to move that around the screen, and you use the left stick to move your character. And then you can or you can use the touch screen as well.
Right.
And so there's sort of different puzzles where you have to sort of shine shadows onto like a clock face, say, and match up symbols to like open doors and things like that. The story's quite cool. It's got a bit of like Alice in Wonderland-y sort of feel to it, where you're a young girl who's sort of woken up in this strange world, and I think her father's ill at the beginning, so she sort of ends up waking up in this sort of dream world where her stepmother is the evil character in the game, and who's like the evil queen of this land, and you sort of got to go through recruiting all these different characters. So there's like a mouse and a froggy person, That's a really bad description. Yeah. There's like a pair of jesters, and yeah, it's got a very Alice in Wonderland feel to it. But it's a really cool little game. Looks really nice. I think it took me about 6 hours to beat it, and the trophy list is pretty easy as well, so I managed to get the 100% on it. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's a nice little game, and I think if you can get it like in the sale like I did for a couple of quid, it's definitely worth picking up. And it looks absolutely gorgeous. So I wouldn't have minded getting the PS4 version and see what that looked like on the big TV, but apparently it's not cross-buy. You have to buy all different versions if you want to play it on other consoles. But yeah, and the only other game is the PS Plus game that came out on Tuesday. I've been playing Hardware Rivals, which I only just realised is actually a Sony game.
Yeah.
Which I never knew that before. Which is it's great fun. I've only played sort of about 6 or 7 matches on it, but it's a vehicular battle game in the vein of sort of Twisted Metal, but rather than sort of all gritty and sort of violent and aimed at the mature audience, this one's a bit more like cell shaded, like cartoony. So, and the level design really reminds me of the old battle modes on like Mario Kart 64. So there's like lots of verticality and like ramps and conveyor belts and stuff you can get on there. So you can either be a tank or a 4x4. So tanks, you sort of have a slower reload time, but you do more damage with your shots. And the 4x4s, you have sort of like a machine gun on the back, so you do smaller damage, but you can obviously get more hits in. There's loads of different customization options you can unlock. It's most of it's cosmetic. So when you finish a match, you get salvage points, and you can save them up to unlock crazy things like a teacup for the top of your car, or some antlers for the front of it, or I think the most expensive one was just like speakers literally all the way around the outside of your tank, like boombox speakers, which it looked quite cool. So it's basically just like a death match. So you sort of drive around, it's 10 minutes, you can either play free for all or team deathmatch, and you just got to try and get as many kills as you can. Or there's domination, which is like your Call of Duty domination, or Battlefield, where you have your 3 zones and you got to try and hold them to get points. Which is, it's quite hard, that mode, because you seem to die quite quickly, so no one really holds the point for very long. It's quite hard to defend it, because you can't move very quickly, and you're sort of like sitting ducks basically there. So yeah, and then you have your one main weapon, and there's lots of pickups around, so you can pick different secondary weapons up. So there's like homing missiles, plasma missiles, EMPs, which are quite funny because you can just hit someone with that and it completely disables them, so they can't move for like 5 seconds, and then you can just like run up to them and just point blank blow them up straight into the face. Yeah, there's bouncing bombs. There's a rail gun, which there only is one pickup on each level, and it doesn't respawn very often, but that is an instant kill. It's like just a one-hit shot kill, and you can take people out from like the other side of the map. I think there's even a trophy for doing it from like 300 meters or something like that. But yeah, trophy-wise, it's really easy. It's time-consuming, but it seems to be really easy. I think I played it for a couple of hours, and I've got like 32% unlocked already. And yeah, and it's got a nice shiny platinum to go with it. But yeah, it's good. It's good fun. I'm looking forward to playing some more. I think it'd be cool maybe jumping in with you guys if we can all jump in, because you can have 5 on a team.
I was going to say, how many is it? Is it 5 a team then?
Yeah, it's 5 on 5. So that looks quite cool. And I think they do little events as well. Like, so for this weekend's event is railguns only. So it will just be like one-shot kill matches like for the whole weekend, which would be quite funny. And yeah, it looks quite fun, and pretty good freebie, I think. That's all I've been playing.
Right. Quite a wide and varied array of games there.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything from free-to-plays to big AAA titles, and then some strange old Vita ones added in. I'm crying at the moment because my Vita has gone missing somewhere in the house.
No!
Yes, it's gone hiding, and I don't know where or why. It's usually in its case. I've got the case, but I've got no idea where the Vita's actually gone.
Is your son still in it?
Well, no, I don't think so. Although I wouldn't put it past him. But I've sort of fired up the PSP again and put some of the old classics on there. But now he's nicked that, and he's actually becoming quite a competent driver in the old PS1 game Driver.
Cool.
But he's not even 2 yet. It's quite scary. But he actually takes great enjoyment in driving down the road on like the open world bit, and just running into cops, laughing as he rams into a copper, and then driving away. So I'm a little bit disturbed at what I've created. But yeah, he does seem to like it. So the Vita's gone walkies, and the PSP has come out of retirement for a bit. But then I don't get to play it, so that's not fair.
Yeah.
And I did realise that my little 2 gig memory card and it was woefully small, so I went and bought a 16 gig, which made life.
How much did it set you back?
It set me back all of £5.
Bloody hell!
Because I bought the adapter for a micro SD card. And bought
Nice.
Yeah, I ain't paying fucking Sony prices for a dual fucking memory card.
Nice, that's good thinking. I like that.
Yeah, because what was it? The 16 gig is still something like 40 quid.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, the Vita ones are ridiculous.
That's what's killed off the system. Is expensive proprietary memory. Sony need to stop doing that shit.
But Sony all over, isn't it?
But the fact is, their hard drives are replaceable. Since PS3, the hard drives have been replaceable. Stop trying to claw money through your media. You make your money on your games, not on your peripherals and your stupid bloody memory cards.
Yeah.
What's the 32 gig? It's like 45 quid, isn't it?
Yeah.
For 32, yeah. Something like that.
I got a Japanese 64 gig one off eBay for like 40 quid. I just thought I'm just going for that. There's no point in having any of the other ones. Once I upgraded from my 8 gig that I got with the system, yeah.
I think my Vita, as and when I find it again, it's got 16 gig in it. I thought there's no point going less than that. Because it just, there was some of the size of the games, and if you're going for like pretty much digital only, you need the space. So yeah, but no, the PSP is still getting some love. That's why I do like the old retro consoles, if the PSP is still classed as retro.
I'm fairly sure it would be. I'd be tempted to turn man into a little Nintendo playing console. Maybe go back and play a few old Nintendo games, because it's quite good for ROMing. But I think the stick on mine's gone a bit doolally, so I might have to open it up and give it a good clean before I do that.
I'd look at cleaning, because some of the prices of PSPs nowadays, they're going back up in price again.
Yeah.
They've actually become a wanted item.
I think the first gen, the Slim, the 2000 model, that goes for loads. Because I think it's quite hard to hack the latest. Yeah. So, and obviously, like the really old ones are sort of all dying, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I think that middle one seems to go. I think they still go for like 100 quid on eBay. Though,
yeah. You find one for less than 60, 70, you're doing well. So I was quite surprised. I thought, well, I'm definitely hanging on to mine then.
I've got a red 2000, but I think it's in a cardboard box in my mum and dad's attic at the minute. So.
No, I've got a Slim 3000, and she does me well. So she's got all the old PS1 classics on there at the moment, and just I don't get a chance to play it. But right, that's enough of that. What we will do now is we'll have a short break, and when we come back, we'll go through the news that has been happening in the past week or two, if I can stop Connor from adding to the agenda.
I just keep remembering news stories and going, oh yeah, I better put that in.
Sod off, will you? Because the agenda was nice and small a minute ago. I've just looked down and you can double the size of it.
It's fine. You can blast through them. They're just
there's me thinking I was going to get to bed before midnight tonight.
Yeah, you're not going to bed before 2, mate. I'm sorry.
We are going to bed before midnight because I'm done. I've had You can sod off with your doubly long agendas. Well, guys, what we'll do is we'll both sack off and let Colin
I'll just
talk
read through the
about
news.
his shit for hours.
I'm just going to play Dark Souls. I'm not even listening.
Right, so when we return, we will jump into the news. So, see you in a minute.
Bye.
Try to fight it, but I just can't seem to win. We're the underdogs in the rat race, and it's the way it's always been. 'Cause the lights guide the way, they're slowly starting faces I still see. But I'm a local boy at heart, and it's the way I'll always be. 'Cause the lights guide the way, they're slowly starting to fade. But we'll embrace it however it goes, because I've been waiting for something to come around again. Because I've been waiting for something. We're in the darkness before dawn, but we're just hanging fire and waiting for the sun. And I try to run at the tide while it's pushing me away. You started all off with a cup of tea, then you watch the technicolors fade. 'Cause the lights guide the way, in time they go and change, but we just take it in our stride. It won't go. It's our body, not time. 'Cause I've been waiting for something to come around again. 'Cause I've been waiting for something. We're in the darkness before dawn, but we're just hanging fire and waiting for the sun to come again someday. And riding up the way to find tomorrow, we just look forward and don't turn back again.
Right, okay, so let's crack on with the news. First news of 2016 for us. First up, well, surprise, surprise, 2015 has leaked in 2016, and another game has been delayed. This time, Uncharted 4, delayed until April 26th.
It's a month delay. We had the same thing happen with Last of Us, and it led to a really good game.
Well, that's it. I'd like to say I'll be surprised at another big game being delayed, but I'm not. It is what it is. We should be used to it by now. It's been 2 years of it. I'm sure it's going to happen again in the third. So
Did they announce that just after the beta?
Yes.
Do you think it probably had something to do with that?
I hope so. That's why they do a beta, to find things to.
Yeah, so it's the
Fix.
bloody multiplayer's fault then.
Probably.
Well, there's been a fair bit of discussion over the mocap was all being filmed quite late on and only ended, I think, a month before the beta started. So there's rumours that they weren't as far on in production as they wanted to be. So it's possible it could slip again, but I don't think it will. I think it'll be April. It's annoying because that was my birthday game. Because when it was due out, it was around my birthday, and I thought, yes, I'm off that week. That is all I'm doing.
There are plenty more games out there for you to play on your birthday.
But there is a cheeky competition that I noticed today where you can win a very, very nice, brand new, sexy 55-inch Sony 4K TV and a collector's edition of Uncharted 4. And all you have to do is make a 6-minute previously on Uncharted video. And you have to edit it together using SharePlay and the Uncharted collection.
As we well know, editing podcasts and gameplay videos, to get 6 minutes, you've got to have recorded a hell of a lot more than that to put it together.
But you can record gameplay in 15-minute bursts on the PS4, which is really handy. And I've got quite good at editing stuff down to 9 seconds to post on Twitter now, so I'd be really tempted to have a crack at that. But I do need the Uncharted collection, so that might be an excuse for me to go and pick that up.
If you get involved in doing one of those, you'll be near enough doing a You're Ashamed challenge again. You'll be stuck on that for so long you'll miss out on everything else.
Quite possibly.
But no, it's an interesting competition to have a go at. It'd be interesting to see what people come up with.
Definitely.
Moving on. PlayStation 4 didn't do bad over the Christmas holidays. They've now hit 36 million.
That's
consoles.
crazy, especially because the PS3 only did just over 70, and that was in 8 years. That's what the PS4's done in just over 2.
I mean, that's because were they at 31 just before Christmas? Or 31 million shipped?
Yeah, it was shipped, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And they've now sold 36 million.
Is that sold through or actually physically?
I have no idea. I just saw on Twitter that it was at 35.9 million units. It
Well,
just said
even if
units
we
sold.
say it's sold through, that's a big jump.
Yeah.
Post Black Friday and all that, that's not bad. Fair. I mean, that's a high number. As you say, within 2 years. Now you've got to expect some drop off over the next couple of years, but they'll well outsell the PS3.
Definitely, but I want to see some Xbox One and Wii U numbers because we haven't heard them for over a year now, have we?
True. I can't see the Wii U being much of a challenge.
The Wii U's going to have jumped by maybe 2 or 3.
Well, Splatoon was the third best-selling game in Japan last year, sold over 1 million copies. So there must be at least 1 million Wii U's out there.
5.7 million units worldwide sold through.
Is that over the holiday
That's
period?
During the holiday period, yeah.
So
PS4
that'll be Black
now,
Friday
cumulative
till
total,
Christmas.
As of the 3rd of January was 35.9 million units, so yeah, just under 36
Not
million
bad.
units. Oh no,
God,
that's an actual sold number. 35
Wow.
million. Oh no, wait a second.
Oh.
More than 35 million copies sold in retail stores worldwide. That's software sales. And a 60% increase in PlayStation Plus subscriptions. That's just such a ridiculous figure. Of course there's an increase in PlayStation Plus subscriptions. You need it to play online.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
There were some
I
crazy
suppose-
deals though. Like, did you? There was one I think for 250 quid with Battlefront, Uncharted collection, and Bloodborne
Yeah.
for like 250. Crazy.
There was enough over Christmas to make me really tempted to pick up a second one, but justifying it was.
My sister-in-law
Yeah.
got one for Christmas from my sister. So yeah, she's quite happy because she's got Batman and the Uncharted collection to play. And she's
Oh, there
going
you
to
go.
be
She's well
bombarding me with messages of how do I do this and what's this and how do I get this.
Figure it out
done?
yourself. Yeah, I've got a nephew that does similar. So every time I'm playing one game, he wants me to jump on something else. Like, no, I'm busy with this, thanks. I don't want to go on Call of Duty, whatever it is, Black Ops 3. Right, moving on. Star Wars fans out there, and pinball fans. There are more tables. The Force Unleashed tables for Zen Pinball are out on the 12th. So... There's Connor adding his own personal sound effects.
That's my subtle hint to I'm already playing them.
cheeky bastard.
They're very good.
I'll tell you what.
I can't give any full impressions yet, but I will do a stream before the 12th, and you can come and jump in and have a look. But they are nice. 2 tables, 2 very different tables, and they're good.
I might have to pick these up purely to annoy my missus. I'm playing very proud dad at the moment. My son, who's not yet 2, has learnt that any time he hears the first couple of bars of a Star Wars theme tune, he starts singing it. It's great. Adverts come up, I put the films on, and he runs around the house singing or humming along to Star Wars. It's wicked. It pisses the missus off to no end, and there's me laughing me tits off every time. It's great. My kid's into Star Wars, and he's not even 2 yet.
Excellent.
Yes. That's how you do it, son. So yeah, I might have to pick these tables up purely just for the soundtrack, if nothing else. But we know it's Zen Pinball, so we know they're going to be good. I'm not at all jealous that you've managed to get hold of them before release, Connor.
I'm really
slightest
surprised. I wasn't
little-
expecting it. I got a lovely email through last night and was like, oh,
Yeah.
because I'd
I
only seen
think-
them announced on Monday, so I was well surprised.
I think we need to have it so all your emails come through my account first, just so I can pick these tables out. Not that I'm jealous in the slightest. Okay, Square Enix Montreal have confirmed Hitman is coming to the PS4 and the PS Vita.
Hitman Go, in fact, I should have updated the gender with what it actually is. Hitman Go was a mobile iOS and then later came to Android, kind of almost like a turn-based Hitman game where you move characters around a grid. So kind of a bit Metal Gear Acid kind of style, and you have an amount of turns to be able to try and take your target out. very basic looking. They look a bit like Subbuteo figures, but very well received. And I tweeted after E3 when they'd mentioned about Lara Croft Go coming out and said, I'm hoping this and Hitman's coming to the Vita some point soon. And it is. And I just got a message back from them tonight saying that you'll get all the info surrounding the PlayStation version very soon. So,
Nice.
cool. That was direct from Square Enix Montreal to me, so I'm quite pleased with that. So literally breaking news. That's literally just come out as we were recording.
Well, as we're recording, yeah, so it'll take a few days to thread it in as well.
Yeah.
But as quick as we can get it out. There you go. Next up, this is why we shouldn't let Connor get hold of the agenda. Connor obviously writes bad Christmas jokes because the next one up is Volume finally gone loud on PS Vita. Dear God.
Can you hear the tumbleweed?
Comedy genius. I'm here all week. Try the fish.
You can stay there all week if you don't want to hear any more jokes like that. But no, thanks to Just Add Water, our good friends over there, for getting the port for this out. I know, Connor, you've been waiting, I was going to say patiently, but no, impatiently for this. So you're.
I knew it was. I knew it was in QA because we have a friend over at Just Add Water, hi Stuart, who had basically I'd spotted that something they'd done had gone into Sony QA, so I'd said, "Oh, any chance that's going to be Volume?" And he's like, "Well, I can't say." So I was like, "It's Volume, isn't it?"
Yeah.
And then there was an announcement about a week or so ago saying it was going to come out on the 5th. And yes, it's out now. If you bought it on the PS4, it's cross-buy, you can go download it. And there was a sale on before Christmas, or around Christmas, New Year, and it was only about £8. So if you managed to pick it up then, absolute bargain.
Cool. That must be one I haven't picked up yet, so I might have to. Well, I might have to pick it up after I played every other game on my console that I need to figure out. I'll add it to the list. Right, next up. Now, this is somewhat surprising, but hopefully not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Rumours floating around that Assassin's Creed is not getting a full game release this year. There's likely to be a 2017 called Assassin's Creed Empire. But AC Chronicles is coming finally to the PS Vita.
Yeah, well, AC Chronicles was 3 side-scrolling games that was supposed to have come out last year. The first one came out and kind of got buried because it came as part of the season pass for Unity. But
I got it for free.
Yeah, I think
and
with
it was shit.
a lot of people weren't that impressed with it. It's basically a Mark of the Ninja clone. India's due out, I think, next week.
Now,
and then there's a Russian one, which looks, the story for that's supposed to be really good, is a Russian sniper, and that's going to be due out, but they're being compiled together and getting a physical release, and it's actually coming
here's
to
the
Vita.
interesting bit. Isn't the film due for release this year?
It is.
So out of all the years that they could put out a game to combine with a film, they don't do it on what they could have marketed as the biggest year for them.
They will release a HD collection of at least the first Assassin's Creed game, possibly Anno Trilogy and AC3.
Oh no! To be fair, if they do an Anno Trilogy on the PS4, I will pick that up. I can't give a reason other than I want it, and I would end up playing hours and hours of it because not Arno, dear God, what am I saying?
Ezio.
Arno, dear. No. Oh, no, can kiss me ass, but yeah, it's the I play.
I think they'll release them in compendiums. They've been doing it for a while, like the North America collection and things like that. So I think they'll do a next gen version of it. It seems stupid not to, and tie in with all the hype, but maybe they'll finally release Rogue on next gen. I played that last month and talked about it in the last
weird
podcast.
Not to have a year without an Assassin's Creed game coming out.
It's about time. I haven't played Syndicate yet, so I can't comment
disagree
on that,
more. I can't agree more with that. But we've had it for so many years that it would be strange if there wasn't one coming. unless they're keeping something very hidden under wraps to blast out with the film.
I don't know if I want a movie tie-in there. I don't
I
really
know
want
we
like
might not want it, but don't forget this is Ubisoft, and
a Prince of Persia, Sands of Time style movie tie-in.
Ubisoft are not above making lots and lots of cash wherever they can. So, with a film coming out, I can't see them not having some Assassin's Creed gaming coming out to go with it.
Seems very odd, doesn't it?
Out of all the years, this would be the weirdest year for them to do it, I'd have thought. I would have not... If it was me, I wouldn't have expected one last year, so that they could bring out a big beastie this year with the film.
But they have potentially got, is it Wetlands or Wildlands?
Wildlands, yeah.
That's potentially end of the year. You've got The Division coming out as well.
Oh, yeah, but
maybe
there's
Ubisoft
no
don't want to
films
stretch
released.
themselves so thin as it kind of feels they did with Unity.
Oh, and Far Cry's
I
out
agree
as
with
well.
that. But wouldn't,
Sorry, what
wouldn't you
else?
have thought
Far Cry Primal's out as well, isn't it?
Oh yeah, of
that's
course,
out in
yeah.
a couple of months, isn't it?
And rumours are it's looking like Watch Dogs 2 might be out this year.
But, see, all of those could have come out at any other time. But there is only one Assassin's Creed film coming out.
It seems
I
odd,
find it
doesn't
very
it?
strange. Yeah. But maybe they've got something up their sleeves that we don't know about. I'd love to push our Ubisoft contact, but I don't think he's going to give us any information whatsoever about it.
I'm not sure he's going to be in the loop
Well,
enough to necessarily know.
That's true, and what he does know off the record, he still wouldn't be
Yeah.
able to pass on if he wanted to. So yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have to wait a little bit longer for that one. And as for Watch Dogs 2,
I still haven't
the
played the first
complete
one.
balls up they had with the first one has put me off really getting excited for any kind of sequel.
Stick of Truth 2, that's due out. Not Stick of Truth.
Fractured Butthole.
Fractured Butthole, that's another Ubisoft game. That's my only desperate to purchase Ubisoft game this year. I
Yeah,
want
me
that.
too.
Yeah, they must admit they are pretty busy this next year or so, but it baffles me that the one year you would expect a huge Assassin's Creed gaming phenomenon to happen, to time with not just time with the film, but to be released alongside the
Yeah.
films, and that they're not going to, or it sounds like they're not going to.
It's very odd.
Nah, that's a very odd marketing strategy for me.
Mm.
But it is only January. The film probably won't get released for a good few months. So, yeah, we might hear more. Onwards and upwards. Double Fine have managed to meet their Kickstarter goal for Psychonauts 2. 3.3 million with 5 days left. That's not bad going, that. Was that their full goal, or was that just the...
No, that was their...
first
I think
level?
that was their full goal.
Their
That
full
was their-
stretch?
Yeah.
Well, good.
The frustrating thing is that Double Fine have got enough money. This kind of Kickstarter stuff is really annoying me when you've got companies that are making money from their games, that they're tapping into this revenue stream. Maybe, it's a good way of getting games made that wouldn't necessarily be made, and it's a way of gauging interest. I just think we've already been fairly clear on what we think about paying for pre-orders, and this is paying in full for a pre-order. I wouldn't walk into game and give them all of my money for a game that may or may not come out.
I will walk into game and give me money anyway, but my views on this, we've talked about this in the podcast before. I think it's a way of not only getting your pre-orders and your sales in, but it's your marketing as well. You're advertising. You're letting other people advertise for you without you having to spend a penny. In fact, they're giving you money to advertise your game. So I know what you mean, and it is a bit... I think it's bastardising what the Kickstarter's original use was, but it's been done so often now by so many companies, this is now becoming the norm. Whether we like it or not, it is what goes on now.
I don't like it.
No, I'm kind of with you on that one. But what can we do?
Especially because a company like that should be able to find the publisher easy.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's not as if they're not making money. That's what frustrates me. There's got to be venture capitalists that will quite happily go, you know what, I'll put into this.
Well, they've got
Yeah.
a decent enough
$3.3
name.
million
They've got a history.
in video games development is not a massive amount.
No, not even slightly.
But I'm even sure if they approached someone like a Ubisoft, they'd probably take that on, knowing that the game was successful the first time round.
Yeah,
So
Well, okay. The Kickstarter is being used for what it is now. That's just the way it goes. But another Psychonauts, people like the original one.
I don't think I ever played it.
I played a little bit of it. My nephew loved it. He went absolutely crazy over it. So I can see him doing the same with this.
I remember enjoying it. I don't really remember too much about it. I just remember having it on the original Xbox.
Yeah, it should be good. Moving on. Well, you mentioned it a couple of episodes ago, didn't you, Connor?
Yeah.
Fantavision is now on the PS4.
That was my pick for the HD remaster.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Did you pick it up then?
I didn't get it in the end. I was so close to getting it, but I'd had a few beers when I was talking to you, and I was just like, do I really want it? I'll get it when it drops. I just think £8's a bit too much for me.
Yeah, I paid £8 for the Super Star Wars the day before. What was it? PSX, and then I saw them. They put all the GTA Vice Cities and stuff. And for £12, those I'm like, it's a little bit higher than I'm prepared to pay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I looked to, because there's there's Dark Cloud, which was a really cool old PS2 RPG. I was looking at that, and I think Daz picked up Parappa the Rapper 2 though.
Yeah,
I was playing that.
I just the price points are a little higher than I was expecting them to go for.
Yeah.
But
well, Yosp has basically said why, hasn't he? OSP Shuei Yoshida has basically said, well, they're actually putting a fair bit of work into them.
Yeah.
It's not just a matter of bolting the trophies on. They've got to
it's not.
do
There
a bit
is work they're
for
doing.
it.
And to be fair, things like Vice City and San Andreas, they are huge games. So, if people haven't originally played them before, £12 ain't bad for that size game.
What Sony need to stop doing, their EU team need a slap, is on the store, stop saying it has a coveted platinum trophy when the game doesn't. Parappa the Rapper had the same tagline, doesn't have a platinum trophy.
I think Fantavision's the same, yeah.
Yeah, this has the same
Doesn't
tagline, no platinum trophy. I'm sorry, that's false advertising. Stop doing it.
See, the price, I'm thinking the price point for me, maybe it's because I've already played it and I think I've probably bought San Andreas 3-4 times, and Vice City I've probably bought 2 or 3 times. So paying another £12 for a game I bought that many times, and I've got copies lying around upstairs.
Yeah,
a good couple of them left. So maybe the price point is not aimed at the likes of me that well.
Yeah.
But for the 15 to 25-year-olds that might not have played it beforehand, this could be. It's a huge game with a massive open world and a load of fun to it.
Yeah.
For a good new price.
It's a good education on the evolution of Grand Theft Auto for those games. But yeah, it's quite a high price. It'd have been nice if they'd have done a bundle that knocked, say, a tenner off the total price or something. Or
Well, see,
buy 2 get 1 free type thing.
When I paid the £8 for the Super Star Wars, I thought that's a bit high, but it's Star Wars. I'm going to pay for it. And then when I saw the GTA ones, I was like, they're actually higher. Ouch. Okay. I'll leave them off my list for now.
Yeah.
I'd imagine they're the sort of games, though, when they have a good sale on, that you'll get them all half price eventually.
Once there's a half decent catalogue of the PS2 titles on there, then they'll have some fun with them. But to be fair, I can see them coming on PS Plus here and there.
Yeah, I think maybe intermittently. I think you could be right.
Yeah, they won't be regular, but I think when there's a quiet month, I think they might throw one in.
I think when they gradually phase out PS3 and Vita, which they probably will do over the next year or two, I think you'll then probably get more PS4 games and stuff like that will probably get included.
Yeah. No, it's nice to see them coming though. That's what we've wanted for a long time. They're bringing over some of the older games, and there's so many to choose from that we want on there.
Yeah, gotcha.
I'm more than happy to see them on the store, and when people want them, pick them up. I mean, I'd like to see what the sales numbers are after a couple of months, just to see how well they've done. But, well, it is what it is. Right, moving on. The PS4 has been hacked by failed overflow.
The guys that hacked the PS3 previously.
Wow. The timing's a little bit funny. It was just before PSN went down the other day for a day and a half. Which was really, really bloody annoying for me. That was the one day I had off work in weeks that I could have sat down and played PlayStation all day, and the PSN was down. Like, no!
We could be jumping at shadows with it, but I think the fact of quite often it was a DDoS attack by the sounds of things that took PSN down, but as we know before, with the last massive outage, that DDoS attack was used as a way of hiding the true intent, which was getting in the back door. And if you've now got a hacked PS4 or numerous hacked PS4s that can get access to the back door whilst everyone's busy looking at the DDoS attack, you've got to do something. And Sony kind of, I think, panicked a bit with it, because the maintenance was like, yes, we're doing unscheduled maintenance. Yeah, all right, yeah. And then it says, it's going to be unscheduled maintenance until the 7th. Really? Right, that seems a bit dodgy. That sounds a bit more insidious. And then, oh no, suddenly it's back up the next day. But they are going to refund or extend people's PlayStation Plus for that day and a bit that it was down. So we're still waiting to find out exactly how they're doing that. I'm guessing they're just going to move your Plus on by a day.
I'm sorry. It's not good enough. PS Plus went down. I want a free PS4 from the trouble. I'm entitled. I should have it.
Well, if you want one, I want one.
We all get one.
I'll just have a PSVR. You lot could have a PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
I'll have a PSVR. PS4.
Well, talking of VR, right, our last point on our news agenda, and considering the time, I'm going to put a time limit on how long we talk about this for.
Okay.
So, we will be finished with this piece by 1:15, no later.
Excellent.
So that's 15 minutes to talk about Oculus Rift. They finally released a price right before, well, they basically said the price as the store went open to pre-order them. The price was a little higher than many expected. $599. Which there's interesting arguments for both sides on Twitter at the moment for the reasons why it's that price or not. But needless to say, all of the stock they had sold out in 14 minutes.
Wow.
It went like lightning. But yeah, many were criticising the price for being too high. A lot of people were defending it because, rightfully so, it's new innovation in technology, and being first gen, this is what happens. Prices are high for the first lot, for the early adopters. We know that from, well, maybe Gaz doesn't, but Connor and you and me know this from the PS4. We paid through the nose to have it on day one.
Yeah, I didn't have it day one. I got mine a few months afterwards.
All right, fuck you all.
I definitely paid through the nose for PS3 though. Majorly through the nose.
So we didn't complain about that really. I mean, when I found the price of the PS4 when it came out, I accepted it. I didn't complain it was too high. It is what it is. The Oculus, I think because the name's been out for so long, it feels like not an old bit of tech, but a well-established bit. So for a price to be that high, almost seems too high for a lot of people.
It kind of feels like they're a bit late to the party, though. They're considering they were leading the charge, and there's been dev kits out for a while, and there's been like the second version of the dev kits out for a while.
Yeah.
And now this is the final retail version. It does feel like they maybe should have done this 6 months ago. Because you've got other people are now going, yeah, we want to be a piece of this.
You've got the PSVR, you've got the Z5,
yeah.
And you've got, there's a bit of competition coming, but the forefront of the PC world was always going to be Oculus.
Yeah.
Now, most of us had a chance to have a go at one, and I must admit, it was on my radar. I was interested in picking one up if it went for a reasonable price for me. It's not a reasonable price for me to pick up, especially for the use I'd get out of it. So I'm out at the moment. If when it comes down in price, I might look again. But to be fair, I'm looking at the PSVR. Seeing the price this has come out, I must admit, we had a quick discussion about it before we went on air. All they've got to do now is just undercut it by a smallish margin, and it's going to go gangbusters. It's, as we said, I still, fingers crossed, hopefully think that the PSVR is going to go for 250, 300. Connor, you think I'm dreaming there, which it's a legitimate argument. I must admit, my price is hopeful.
I reckon 500. I reckon they'll probably go like $100 under.
Yeah.
I think for me, I would be very much out at 450 and above. Very much out. I don't think I could justify paying 4+.
The fact is, I think if it sells in the same way that Oculus does, if they've only made a set batch number, there's rumours that it's going to be 1% of the total PS4 sales are going to jump on PSVR. These are rumours. They're not. You can't base them on anything. That's still quite a lot of units, but you wouldn't get that allocation of stock within your first run anyway. It's going to take a long time for that to come out. I'm curious as to see how it goes, how Sony pull the trigger. I wouldn't be surprised to see, come February, they do another announcement like they did for the PS4 and say, this is what you get, this is how much it's going to cost you, and this is what you're going to get with it. And if you've got PlayStation Plus, hey, you're going to get a game every month.
But I mean, going back to with the Oculus, what was interesting was how people were comparing it to different other products to try and justify the price.
Yeah.
A lot of people were trying to compare it to likes of cars.
Yeah.
No, Shahid was talking about it being like compared to a Jaguar. Whereas you've got normal cars which do just the same job, but a Jag is more of a luxury type car, and so justifies the price. For me, looking at, if you're going to compare it to the car industry, I would compare it more like a Tesla, a fully electric car. It's a car, it drives on the same roads, but it's a completely new innovation of the technology that, it is unproven, longevity-wise. It might be a good success. It might revolutionise how we play games, how we do things, how the cars drive. But as it is now, you're paying to be one of the first to have a go and to be there. And I think that's the same with Oculus. I think that premium price is to get in the door. Now, when it comes to apps and games to be made for it, I think the price is going to be a very hard pill to swallow for some of these smaller developers, that the install base is now going to be a lot less than maybe we were expecting. I don't know. When I first saw the price, I did choke, but the more I think about it, I can understand their thought process behind it. But I think for many of us, it's higher than we're prepared to pay for it.
It's going to sell well, and the price will come down. Technology always does.
Well, yeah, and it was extremely funny to watch Twitter.
Look at the PS4s. Look how quick the price has dropped in theirs. The reason the price has dropped is because you're starting to approach market saturation. When you hit that point, the only way you can sell more is to sell it cheaper. By that point, you've sold enough to cover your costs. Technology's moved on so you can make things cheaper. You can start removing stuff that you don't need, and price comes down. It naturally comes down, and that is what will happen with Oculus.
But to be fair, what was funny was Twitter on the day, that hour that they announced the price and the pre-orders, watching, not just, there's a few people, but one or two in particular, were screaming and bitching about the price, and also throwing their money at them to get it pre-ordered. I'm like, you can't argue, one, and then do the other.
Yeah, you speak with your wallet. If you may want the tech, but if you can't afford it, don't buy it.
But if you're screaming that it's overpriced, it's far too expensive, please take my money.
Yeah.
Doesn't really, the argument becomes null and void.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. It kind of goes against what they were saying. They were kind of predicting it was going to be $400. So they seem to have done a big jump on that initial it'll be $400 because that was kind of their target price. But I think whoever had said that maybe hadn't run the numbers properly.
Well, the numbers are also, because as was pointed out on Twitter by a few people, it's $599 US. But for those trying to have them shipped into the UK, if that gets taxed
oh God,
on top of that,
yeah.
Holy shit, that's going to be expensive.
And for the UK release, the only thing they'll probably do is knock 100 off the total and put a pound sign in front of it.
I'll bet you'd be lucky if they knock 100.
Well,
I don't think they'd even do
most
that,
of the consoles are normally $100. Well, the number is 100 lower, and then with the pound sign in front. So I'd imagine that's what they'll probably do.
I think what they'll do for a UK one, because when's the UK release in theory?
It hasn't been announced yet, I don't think.
I think what they'll do is they'll bundle in one of their controllers and keep it the same price.
Well, all the controllers that come with it are Xbox ones anyway, aren't they?
Well, no, there's no controllers coming with it. There's an adapter to use for a wide one.
Well, the
I've
original
definitely seen
talk
there's
was
a little...
they were all supposed to be coming with Xbox One controllers.
I've seen a picture today. It comes in like a little aluminium briefcase with an Xbox One controller.
Oh, it does come with
that was always what it was supposed to be. That's why it was really ironic that it wasn't going to be compatible with the Xbox One. It's like, oh yeah, we'll give you a controller, but you'll have to use a PC to play it. Huh? Why are you putting an Xbox One controller in? So that's Microsoft going, well, we can't ship the console, so we might as well sell the controllers.
Yeah.
We can't sell the car, so here's the tyres.
Oh dear, yeah, I know a few car companies that would probably do something like that. I mean, how likely are any of you on picking up Oculus in the next 12 months?
Not Oculus. I want a PSVR, but for me personally, I think I'm going to wait a year. Like, once it's been out for a year, hopefully there'll be a bit of a price drop. There'll be loads of software out there, and hopefully quite a bit on PS Plus that I could have added to my library. Then I'll probably think about getting one.
I wish I could say the same.
To be fair,
I think the fanboy in me is going. If it's in a price I can handle, I'm going to end up picking it up. I can see that.
400 to £500 for me. No, it's too much. I could do with spending that on a laptop. I could do with spending that on a decent new PC. Drop that on that and at least go, yeah, it's not going to go away. If it does go away, hey, I've missed out. I can probably pick one up cheap when people are all flogging them off at CEX for £150. If not, then the price is going to naturally drop. As I do really want to try it. I've still not tried VR. So for me, I want to try it.
Damn good.
But
it was amazing. I've tried it a few times.
It's that price of admittance. It's a bit too high. I'm the type of person that if I'm out drinking and you get to a club door and they go, yeah, that's £20 to get in, you go, no, I'll go elsewhere then, thanks. So, yeah.
No, that's not. I'm kind of with you there. And to be fair, I think like most sane people, if I walked into this house and told the missus that I've just spent between £400 and £600 on a VR headset which has little software, little practical use, but it's cool, I think I'd probably be spending the night out with the dog.
Yeah.
Well, you can sit there with your VR helmet outside in the pissing down rain because you're not coming in.
I like the idea of being able to play games with a headset on whilst the missus is watching telly. But I can kind of already do that with my Vita. Yeah, it's not strapped to my face. But I also don't have to sit there whilst the missus is flicking V's at me and I can't see her because I've got a big lump of plastic on my face.
I do have to admit, it's also... I had this discussion with friends of ours over Star Wars, The Force Unleashed. People were asking why I didn't watch it in 3D. And for me, I kind of want to watch the films the way I've always watched films. I don't want to be thinking too hard about what's coming out the screen, what the depth is. I just want to sit there with the film and enjoy it the way I've enjoyed all the others. And I think the same, for the most part, is the same with my games. Oculus, PSVR, all that. It's great innovation. It's great idea. But if I'm really going to sit down and just play a game and get into it, I've done 20 some odd years of it one way. I kind of want to keep doing it that way. I don't know how interested I'm going to be in jumping into that new realm of gaming, and to pay that much premium to do it.
Yeah.
It's a strange one, that.
It's one of those ones that I can imagine if I bought it, and if this had come out when I was at college or uni, when I'd bought like PS2s, and you'd end up with a house full of people all wanting to have a play, it would be very much a novelty, but it is a very solo experience. It's not like having a console where you can all plug your controllers in, you're all playing. You're basically turning the world off and jumping into a game, literally. There's everyone else is just has to sit and watch you with a big plastic thing on your head, and I think that's a bit sad.
And to be fair, Connor, you and me and everyone else with kids, you ain't gonna have time to put a VR
I'm
helmet
not
on.
sure.
You've got a Rugrat running around.
Yeah, I'm not sure I want a 500 quid piece of hardware stood on my side, where I'm already worried that the little man's going to start learning to post things. I'm going to have to open my PS4 up because it's full of like plastic letters and stuff. So
I'd be more worried about putting it on, and the kids running out. You've got your headset on, you've got your speaker, your earpiece on as well, so you can't hear anything in the real world, can't see anything. And all while you're doing that, your kid's shouting, you're getting pissed off at you, so end up throwing a toy at your face, and you don't realise it until it's hit you. It's almost dangerous.
It's also trailing cables. It's got an external processing box. There's a lot of stuff there that doesn't make it...
It's a very solitary piece of kit.
I want to try it, but it's the one thing, a bit like PS4, I kind of held off. I didn't jump like day one like I did with PS3, PS2 Vita. I'm going to hold off. Unless I suddenly win the lottery. Or Sony wants to send me one, and I will evangelise about it. Feel free. But
dude, seriously,
that point,
if Sony are sending us a PSVR helmet, I'm nicking that in.
I don't think it's happening, but hey,
no.
There's certainly people I can go and talk to about getting a play on one. So I'm aiming to do that. Hopefully in the next couple of months when I've got some time off. So I'll have something to talk about it in the future.
Right, that's it. You cut off. That's your 15 minutes. That's Oculus. We're done, which was quite handy because that was pretty much the end of that anyway. So that wraps up our news. Episode 81, 2016. We made it. We've survived another year.
We've got an episode out.
Yay! Well, let's hold on. Let's make sure this is edited properly. We had issues. If you're hearing this, then it went well.
or it didn't go as badly as it could have done.
Yeah, and some of the ones we've had to edit, that's more accurate. Right, so, as always, you can find us, JoypadAndMe, on most places. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on YouTube. Please do, because we want more subscriptions on there.
I will hopefully start sticking some stuff up, some live streams, hopefully over the next month or so. So it'd be worth going in and adding a little like in there and subscribing to that channel, and you'll maybe start to see extra content popping up.
Gameplay videos, streaming. We've got trailers for games. We've got all sorts of weird stuff up there, so go and take a look. If you want to find us, just search on any of the social media sites or anything like that for JoypadAndMe. And if you're on Twitter and you want to talk to one of us directly, by all means, you can find me at The Jedi Junkie, all one word.
You can find me at VDJOMB.
And you can find me at DaftChunk1.
And don't forget the website, JoypadAndMe.com, where our article drought is now over. Now we've fixed our technical issues, which you can have a look on there now, and you will find my personal user experience from Curry PC World's know-how repair service and how that went. Anyone that's been following me on Twitter might have a sneak preview of that. But there's plenty more went on. And in the next few days, or by the time this podcast comes out, you should see a couple of interviews we've done with... Over the past year or two, you've seen we do a few cosplay interviews. Well, we thought we'd change it around a bit and actually have a chat to one of the photographers and see what their opinions are of the genre, what kind of equipment they use, what kind of techniques, their editing process. So, budding photographers or cosplayers that want to see what goes on, have a look at that. We've also got a follow-up interview with Nikki Lamb. We've covered her about a year ago. She's done a lot more, so we've had another chat with her and her photographer. So take a look at what's going on there. And keep an eye out, because there'll be many more reviews, articles, and all sorts of goodness coming to the site. So please check us out.
Yay!
Yeah, do
Any
it.
final words and thoughts and thingamajigs?
No, I just want to say welcome to 2016. Let's hope it's a fantastic year for gaming.
There's so many good games coming out this year.
I'm so glad I'm not on a year of shame this year.
Me neither.
I just now need some money to be able to buy them.
Yeah.
That would be nice. I think my wallet's on a year of shame. I'm not, but my wallet is. It went overboard the past couple of months, and now it's been told not to do it again. Yes. But there you go. So, that's episode 81 in the bag. And we will all catch you next time. So, it's a goodbye from me, Jello Junkie.
It's a see you later from me.
And a bye from me. Bye.
Ooh.
See ya. Bye.
Excellente.